What's going on? It's me, Seth, with SethPerler.com, Executive Function Coach out of Boulder, Colorado. I help struggling students navigate this thing called education. I'm coming to you from my couch today because I'm sick. I don't feel so good, but I want to get a vlog out to you. I'm going to do two today. This first one here is about 2E kids. And in particular, it's based on this email. Hi, Seth. I recognize you have so many people to help and don't want to steal your time, so I'll keep my 2 questions short. 1, my child is 7 and in first grade. What's a good age to determine that a child is 2E? 2, why do you recommend a neuropsych instead of clinical psychologist for evaluations? All right. Number 1, what is a good age to determine if your child is 2E? Here's what I would recommend to you parents. Be on the lookout for if your child is 2E or whatever your child is as early as humanly possible. Read up on things, learn, educate yourself. Read my 2E video article, which is exhaustive, and the PDF that comes with it, which has a massive checklist. It's not the end-all be-all, and I don't really like to box things in, but I give you all of these metrics to look at and just to consider. And read through the article and watch the video thoroughly. Read it many times. Read as much as you can on 2E about giftedness, about different types of disabilities. So you want to find out as early as you can. Now here's my concern. There are 2E kids where it's relatively black and white. You know they've got a learning challenge disability. It's very clearly identifiable for whatever reason. It's that type of thing. You know they're gifted in some area or multiple areas, and it's just very clear, black and white. It doesn't concern me so much. It's not easy, but it's easier to see what the needs of a kid like that is like. What concerns me is what I get a lot of in my practice, which is kids that I say that they're in the gray zone. Kids that are in the gray zone, there are 2 types of them, and it's a dangerous place to be because when they're in the gray zone, they're misunderstood and they're not seen clearly. When they're misunderstood and they're not seen clearly, their needs are often not met. Not only are their needs often not met, but they're often shamed by well-intentioned adults. So you've got all these adults that are going to be in your kid's life. You got their teachers, you got parents, you got counselors, you got admin, you got support staff, you got tutors, whatever. You have all these adults that are going to be in their life. And when you have the kids in the gray zone, what's going to happen is that you're going to run into a lot of those people who will not get your kid. And you're going to be having conversations with people in your life where you're going, yeah, this teacher just doesn't get my kid. They just don't get it. I just can't wait for the school year to be over. Why are they so rigid with my kid? We try to communicate, whatever. You're going to have those type of conversations. This is with the gray zone kids. So anyhow, there are 2 gray zone kids. One gray zone kid looks like this, 2E kid. Their gifts overshadow their deficits and their challenge areas and their disabilities. So they've got these gifts. And an example, place where I see this a lot. Sorry, I'm so sick. My head is not functioning clearly. Place where I see this a lot is a kid who has very high verbal ability. So you have a young kid, they're able to have incredible, deep conversations. You know it's a gift. These are conversations that other kids in their grade are not having with adults. Like, they're really high level in terms of their ability to articulate something. And then they have a disability. But if the disability is overshadowed by this is the type of kid where adults will say, I know the kid's bright. I know they can do it. I've seen them do it before. They're just not trying hard enough. They're just not working. They're just not motivated. They're just not being disciplined. They're being willful. They're just choosing. They just won't do it. It's not that they can't do it. It's that. So if there's a disability that's interfering with things, and the adults are saying, yeah, but I know that they're capable because I see it in this area, that's one of the type of gray kids. The other type of gray kid is where you have the disabilities overshadow the gifts. So this is a kid where the disability is so in your face. And you see it all the time. It's very easy to identify. It really interferes a lot. But they have these gifts that aren't being noticed, that aren't being developed, that these kids are not seen for those things, and they're focusing all on the disability. So those are the kids that I worry about. It's these kids in the gray zone. Now, all kids are complicated. Then you got your gifted kids that are complicated. You got your kids with disabilities that are complicated. Then you got your 2E kids, and they're super, super, super complicated. I don't want you to leave this video thinking, oh, we can just figure something out and get them on the right track and get everything fixed. These are issues you're going to be dealing with for years, and I think that's sometimes hard for parents and teachers to understand. And it's okay. This is life. You know, we're complicated people. But in order to deal with these complications, we can't pretend it's simple, and we can't approach it if it's simple, and we can just do some tests and do some scores and do some interventions and follow the IEP and the 504 and everything will be okay. That ain't reality. Reality is you got this kid, you want them to have a good future. They're going to need certain skills and knowledge to have a good future. There's no way around it. Are we developing that? How do we personalize, customize, tailor, differentiate, create educational experiences that are relevant to that human being to develop their strengths, help them with their challenges, but give them everything that they need? How are we going to meet their needs? And the way that we're going to do that is by being clear, and you're asking the right question. When's a good time to determine if they're 2E? The earlier, the sooner you're clear on this, and the staffs are clear, the better we're going to be able to meet their needs. Question number 2. Why do I recommend a neuropsych instead of a clinical psychologist? Trying to make an appointment with a neuropsych based off your video, but they said they only see children with brain injuries. Thank you so much. Not all neuropsychs only see kids with brain injuries. I don't know how big of an area you, population-wise, you live in. I know you're in Arizona. Thank you for writing from Arizona, by the way. But I don't know if you're in Phoenix or if you're in a small area like Prescott or something like that. But there are neuropsychs that do. So the reason I like neuropsychs is they cast a very wide net of testing. They do several different tests, a huge battery. They do it over the course of a couple days. They really get to know your child. So now, does that mean that they're going to be better than a clinical psychologist? Not necessarily. What I always say is you want someone where there's the relationship. If you have a clinical psychologist who does evaluations, who you trust, who you get, who's fun, you have a great relationship with, and you can walk away from that person with answers to your questions, that's what matters. You could go to the best neuropsych in the world, at least on paper, and walk away with your head spinning. That doesn't help you anything. You just paid $3,000 to be like, what the heck did we just do? What does this stack of papers mean? How does this help us? Whoever you go to, I want you to walk away with answers. Not all the answers, but with some clarity. You should be walking away going, wow, this has opened our eyes to some things. We have a much better picture. So a psychologist could certainly do that. So don't underestimate anybody. Keep doing your research on your own. But I would call 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Call a couple of psychologists and a couple of neuropsychs and ask them the question I said in that video, which is, when I leave here, am I going to have answers to my questions, or am I going to walk out with my head spinning and a stack of papers and not being able to interpret the stack of papers? How are you going to support me to understand the value of this testing? So that's my thing with that. So I don't care who does it. You just want answers. So with that, again, my name is Seth, SethPro.com. If you haven't signed up for my website, go ahead and subscribe. A lot of great stuff for helping complicated kids. And subscribe on YouTube and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Do whatever you can to support me and get these ideas out to more families so that we can serve more kids. I hopefully will not be sick much longer. And I hope you are doing well. Take care.